Good, happy Friday morning, January 17, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday morning, so let's begin. First up, crafters help animals affected by Australian fires. Worldwide network assists wildlife relief efforts. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
Jackpot alert! Okay, we'll get a ticket. How did you get in here?
Each one is homemade by Granite Staters who just wanted to offer some comfort.
I can't go over there and help, and I had plenty of yarn, and why not use what I have instead of just throwing it out?
Catastrophic wildfires in Australia are still burning. More than 25 million acres are scorched, at least 28 are dead, and 1 billion animals have perished. Pictures like these are resonating with animal lovers across the globe, and in the small town of Rumney, small acts of kindness will help those who've survived.
Little tiny marsupials or little birds that don't have a home.
Whether it's nests or pouches for orphaned kangaroos and wallabies, or even wraps for injured bats.
And then he gets kind of rolled up in here, so he's like nice and cuddly and warm.
They're knitted, sewn, or crocheted, then sent to Rumney Village store. Sheila Bonfiglio saw a plea on Facebook to collect and send these items to Australia.
The animals have no protection unless people's going to step up and help them. So, it's what I could do, a little bit that I could do.
After the donations are dropped off here at the store, Sheila then sends them to a collection site in Maine. And from there, they go to Australia.
If you can't sew, or if you don't want to sew, or you don't have the time, it's always nice to be able to make a donation as well.
To get involved or make a money donation, visit this story on WMUR.com. In Rumney, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Smoke detectors disabled in condominium complex damaged by fire, officials say. Fire officials say residents apparently disabled recently installed smoke detectors. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Siobhan Lopez.
Jackpot alert! Okay, we'll get a ticket. How did you get in here?
The damage from a run alarm fire in Lebanon is minimal and no one was hurt. The real concern came when crews discovered 8 out of 12 units in that building had missing or disabled smoke detectors.
The impact that it could have on other occupants within the building is quite disturbing.
Some of the tenants took them down, some of them have them covered with plastic.
One of them was covered in tinfoil. The fire happening at Boulder's condominiums on Wolf Road. The fire chief says the property management group had just put new detectors in a few months ago. Now the tenants could be in trouble.
They could be cited or charged with tampering with a smoke detector because they are required in those buildings.
The chief plans to work with the management group to take a look at the other buildings on the property to check on those detectors. Fire officials call them a life-saving tool, especially now, the way fires burn with modern construction and household materials.
Once it does ignite, it burns very rapidly. It's extremely toxic. and the smoke will overcome you in a matter of seconds.
The cause of the fire remains under investigation, but the chief says it does not appear to be suspicious at this time. Reporting in Concord, Siobhan Lopez, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Pelham man holds burglary suspect at gunpoint, police say. Woman went to neighbor after seeing suspicious vehicle in driveway, officials say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Jennifer Crompton.
Jackpot alert! Okay, we'll get a ticket. How did you get in here?
Neighbor helping neighbor, leading to the arrest of a burglary suspect on Pelham's Kennedy Drive on Wednesday. Police getting the call about 4:30 that a woman had come home to find a vehicle idling in her driveway with no one inside. That woman calling police and heading next door.
The neighbor went over with a gun and saw a suspect leaving the back of the house. And he held that person there until we arrived.
31-year-old Andrew Bilcliffe of Plastow was taken into custody without incident. Bilcliffe, out on bail at the time, facing charges in connection with a burglary in Atkinson in August. Home surveillance video posted on social media helping in that arrest. Police say that Kennedy Drive neighbors' actions were both legal and courageous.
When we got there, he advised us he was armed, and we told him to holster his weapon. He did that, and then he went back home with no issues.
Residents very appreciative.
I was happy to hear that somebody stood up for another citizen. I was glad that nobody got hurt.
I think it's awesome. I think it's great that he was there to protect her.
Now, police say that neighbor doesn't want to be identified, and they say that he did do a great job, but they ask that witnesses not put themselves in harm's way. We're live in Pelham, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Judge denies woman's request to reduce sentence for accidentally killing man. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Jackpot alert! Okay, we'll get a ticket. How did you get in here?
Georgiana Rittenauer entered court Thursday in tears and virtually never stopped crying as she asked the judge for time off her prison sentence. She has served about 1 year of a year and a half behind bars for negligent homicide in the shooting death of Stephen Aslan.
This wasn't something that I did maliciously in any way, shape, or form. I can't even speak correctly when it comes to this being brought up.
Prosecutors say Rittenauer was playing with a gun in August of 2018 when she shot Aslan in the head. Defense lawyers say it was an accident, but the victim's family says that doesn't matter.
This will bother us for the rest of our lives. That's all.
Aslan's family felt the year and a half was a light sentence to begin with, and the judge said she needs to spend at least that much time in prison.
There were consequences, very, very significant consequences, obviously the most significant to the actions that you took on that day.
Nothing will ever be the same. Every day is different without him, and it's not fair.
The judge recognized that Rittenauer had been a model inmate, but said she needed to do the minimum of her sentence before being eligible for parole. Reporting live, I'm Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Newport man sentenced for shooting 2-year-old sleeping above him. Defense attorneys calls wandering unintentionally. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa.
Jackpot alert! Okay, we'll get a ticket. How did you get in here?
And I'm just very, very sorry that I hurt Miss Lennox. Truly.
A message to the parents of the little girl after Timothy Hale pleaded guilty to firing a shotgun into a ceiling last April, injuring the toddler who was sleeping upstairs.
Mr. Hale said that he was sleeping in bed. He grabbed his shotgun, which was right over the backside of the bed. He said he jacked a shell and shot.
According to prosecutors, Hale fired his gun because he thought someone was in his apartment.
That would suggest that Mr. Hale appeared intoxicated. They smelled the alcohol on him. And a search warrant was also executed on his unit, where there was a number of firearms. In particular, there was a Stevens pump-action shotgun.
His defense attorney says it was a tragic accident.
It's totally unintentional. He feels terrible about it. The best thing that's happened to him today is seeing that little girl run around in the courthouse.
The girl was shot in the leg. She underwent surgery and is now doing well.
But Lennox will always have a scar. They'll never let her forget what happened.
Her mother says she went through therapy and relearned to walk, but says she still has struggles.
Lennox has anxiety over loud noises. One of the hardest things to deal with is Lennox being so aware of what happened to her that she tells people, "My neighbor Tim shot me."
But despite all this,
we do not wish any ill will towards you. We want this all to finally get behind us and all to move on.
after serving his sentence, he will be on probation for 2 years. We're live in Newport tonight. Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Two-vehicle crash on Concord's Main Street sends one to the hospital. A woman was taken to Concord Hospital after a crash on North Main Street Thursday. Take a look at this photo from the crash scene. And that is photo from that crash scene. Concord firefighters, EMTs from Bow and Concord Police were sent to North Main Street near Court Street for a two-vehicle accident Thursday. First responders arrived around 7:20 p.m. and found a Toyota Corolla on North Main Street and an Infiniti sedan on Court Street, which had 3 passengers in the vehicle. A woman was taken to Concord Hospital. About 20 minutes later, Concord firefighters cleared the scene, and a tow truck was called to remove the Corolla. U.S. features point to a higher open. U.S. stock index features were slightly higher Friday morning as investors designated growth data out of China. growing tension between Warren and Sanders. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
The race for the White House and the growing tension between Senator Elizabeth Warren and Senator Bernie Sanders. And you'll remember that moment at the end of the debate when Warren refused to shake Sanders' hand. So much lip-reading afterward, but that's needed no longer because tonight the audio has been released. But who does this feud really help? Here's Lindsay Davis.
This was the moment millions watched. Elizabeth Warren refusing to shake Bernie Sanders' hand after the Democratic debate. And tonight we're finally hearing that tense exchange.
I think you called me a liar on national TV. I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Let's not do it right now. You want to have that discussion, we'll have that discussion. You called me, you told me. All right, let's not do it.
Overnight, CNN released that audio. While neither calls the other an outright liar on the debate stage, Sanders did deny telling Warren a woman could not win the election.
Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't say it. Hillary Clinton got 3 million votes, more votes than Trump. So who believes that a woman can't win? Of course a woman can win.
On Capitol Hill today for the impeachment trial, Warren wasn't taking questions about Sanders.
Senator, have you had a chance to speak with
Sanders was also pressed about the exchange with Warren.
Have you spoken to Senator Warren since the debate? Have you resolved anything there?
No, we haven't spoken.
What do you think it was a miscommunication?
A coalition of progressive groups is now calling for unity. There is concern that this rift could divide that wing of the party and give a boost to their more moderate rivals. They're hoping to move past the sparring of recent days and quickly, David.
An uncomfortable moment to watch. All right, Lindsay, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. But I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.